Welcome to Football Discussion Daily. My name is Joe, and I'm here with the co-host
You.
CGO or George. Today is the 3rd of March, 2026, and we are going to talk about a couple of different things. There's several Premier League games today. I believe there were 4 games today. Those results were Everton 2, Burnley 0, and in a very exciting match, Bournemouth and Brentford drew 0-0. Sunderland beat Leeds 1-0, and Wolves beat Liverpool 2-1. In other games, Barcelona in the second leg of the Spanish Cup, Copa del Rey, they lost last week 4-0. They won today 3-0, which means they lost 4-3 on aggregate. And so just very exciting, very interesting. George, I think you watched that game. Do you think at the end of the game Barcelona had a chance? Was there hope in that stadium? Like what caused them to turn it around today?
Today we saw Pedri. Pedri was in the midfield today, and you will notice the influence of Pedri in the midfield really made Barcelona more dangerous, especially when it comes to the attacking side. If you watch the game, you will notice that Barcelona dominated the game fully. They were fully in control. The Atletico Madrid team is more like they were out of ideas, though they had some few chances, but Barcelona created more chances. Atletico Madrid must thank their keeper because Barcelona looked like that team that would have overturned the table. But we'll say Atletico were very fortunate that their keeper was able to make a lot of saves, and then Barcelona couldn't really overturn the table. So we'll say congratulations to Atletico Madrid, but Barcelona fans are not happy because remember in the first leg, Kubasi scored a goal in that game that was a bit controversial. VAR overruled that goal, but later there was an apology that was made. It was supposed to be a goal. So that tells you what decisions made on the pitch can do when it comes to football. It can influence the outcome of a game tremendously. If that game had ended 4-1, possibly with a 3-0 win, at least maybe they would have gone into extra time and Barcelona would have had the momentum to go ahead and win. But
George,
unfortunately, it never happened that way.
you can't play those games. Like Atletico would have played differently at 2-0 up if they knew the next goal equalizes versus there's a 2-goal cushion. There's so many different things that could have gone differently there. I'm sure that Barcelona fans, first, there's no excuse for getting a VAR call wrong. Getting a call on the pitch wrong happens all the time. I get it, but getting a call on video wrong, no excuse in the moment. But to say that everything would have changed if that would have happened. So it is quite good, and I agree with you. Pedri is, in my opinion, one of the best midfielders in the world. Every time I see him, it just does simple things so well. He doesn't play crazy good passes, but he just can control a game like a Modric or a Cruz, and it's just exceptional. Every time I see him, and I see him talking to other players on the field. You go there, and he's thinking 2 or 3 passes ahead. It's just I'm always been impressed with him. Just the composure he has at. I guess he's not super young now, but I've seen him play for a couple of years, and certainly at a younger age, I saw great composure with him.
Even the second goal Barcelona scored in the game, the penalty that was converted by Rafinha was as a result of Pedri being brought down in the 18-yard box of Atletico Madrid. So today he was very influential in the game. He played so well, and Barcelona won 3-0, but the fans at the Nou Camp didn't go home happy because they were knocked out of the Copa del Rey semi-final. So it's a very
Yeah.
sad one for Barcelona fans across the globe.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're still in the 2 big tournaments that they care about, La Liga. They have a leg up, and in the Champions League, they have as good a chance as anybody. So we'll see how the rest of their season plays out. It's exciting. Now, George, let's move on to Premier League. There was 4 games today. I think the big one is Wolves Sunderland, because it's just an upset. But before we get
No,
to
Wolves
that,
Liverpool.
sorry,
Wolves
Wolves
Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
In the other 3 games, is there anything you feel worthy of talking about? I mean, I'm not sure. The results wise, I don't know. There's nothing there that was absolutely crazy or unexpected.
No, you never expected Leeds United to lose at home to Sunderland. Remember yesterday when we spoke, you were thinking Leeds United is that team that will be battling relegation that will likely not lose a game or disappoint. But today, Sunderland went there and got victory. So this is the first time they are getting victory in over 20 years. The last time they got victory at Elland Road was 2020, 2006.
Wow.
So 20 years after they've gotten a victory at Elland Road. So it's something that is very remarkable for Sunderland fans that they were able to get victory at Elland Road. It's a place that has been very, very difficult for them to get a win. So
Yeah.
it's a very good one for Sunderland, if you ask me. And now they are currently on the 11th position. For Leeds United, it put them at risk because they are just 2 points ahead of Tottenham. So what it means is that Tottenham can get good results in their game against, I think, Crystal Palace on Thursday. Then it means they can go above Leeds United. But the way Tottenham plays, you can't really trust them to really get any victory. And
You
considering
know,
that this year they haven't won any game, so nobody is that confident that they can really do something special.
I didn't watch today, but I've watched several Leeds games this year, calendar year 2026. I watched several Tottenham games. Leeds has been a better team for over two
Yes,
months, and
yes, yes,
anything can happen. And in the bottom of the table, 3 points means a lot more than it does at the top of the table. And one win, one bounce means a lot more at the bottom. It can influence final table position a lot more at the bottom of the table. But I genuinely do feel like looking at Leeds, this team is going to be above Tottenham, West Ham, Nottingham Forest. I think they're the best of those four teams vying for that last
yes.
relegation. I feel like there's four teams that have a chance at that relegation spot, and Leeds is the best of them from what I've seen. I think Nottingham Forest is going to be the team going down for the record.
Even if you look at today's game between Leeds and Sunderland, Leeds United dominated. In fact, they scored a goal, but it was overruled because it was offside. They played much better. I just feel they were just unlucky in this game because if you watch the game, they made more attempts compared to Sunderland. Sunderland were just fortunate that Ampado, who is the captain of Leeds United, I think the ball touched his hand, and then they were given a penalty. That was how Sunderland were able to get their goal. And it ended just in a 1-0 win for Sunderland.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it wasn't that Sunderland played better than Leeds United. So Leeds United has been that team that has really improved uh, in the Premier League. I feel they have what it takes not to be relegated, if you ask me.
Yeah. And we're at the business end of the season where likely a streak of two games for any of these teams likely puts them into safety. I mean, this year we're probably looking at 37, 38 points for a team that's relegated. So if you look at West Ham is probably going to end up around 35, 36 points. Is probably going to be that 18th spot. For a lot of these teams, for Leeds, that's basically two wins out of the last eight, 9 games will likely keep them up. Which, I think this Leeds team is certainly capable of that. Now, George, the big result of the day: Wolves at home beat Liverpool 2-1. And from what I saw of this game, this was not an accident. Liverpool had most of the possession, but it was largely toothless. Liverpool's one goal. I give credit to Liverpool for pressing, but it was a bad pass that Salah intercepted, and he still did a great finish. And it was, I think, takes 11 players, coordinated players, to push professional players into making that bad pass, but it still was not a creating a chance from open play that we kind of criticize other clubs for not being able to do. Wolves had one great goal on the counter, one kind of lucky goal on a deflection at the end, but still way too much space. I don't know what your takeaways from this game are. Liverpool did not play well. Gakpo is not a Liverpool starting quality winger. Can finish, but is not has I feel like he's declined in so many other areas of his game this year. I think this McAllister is a shell of his former self. After 45, 50 minutes every single game, he looks like he's tired. I just think this Liverpool team is is struggling due to squad composition factors. Out, I mean, a lot of it's outside of Slot's control, but Slot's not also changing anything. Um, George, what is your take on this Liverpool team? I mean, I think every team who's in this spot is flawed in some capacity, like Aston Villa, United, Chelsea. This team's fighting for Champions League. But do you feel like this is a trend, or do you feel like this is a one-off for this team?
Well, the issue is that it was a very disappointing result for Liverpool because I'm sure prior to the game, if they had told anyone that Liverpool is going to lose this game, I'm sure nobody would ever believe that. It was a game we're expecting Liverpool to go there and get victory, considering that Wolves is at the bottom of the table. And the sad thing is that if you watch Liverpool, there is no much clear-cut creativity. They had possession of the ball. They were dominating the game. But it's not all about dominating the game. It's about creating chances and taking your chance. We didn't see much from that from Liverpool, apart from maybe they were able to do one or two things trying to see if they could score, but that wasn't convincing enough. But you see what Wolves did. Towards, let me say, the last 15 minutes, Wolves came out, they became more energetic the way they were playing. And it was as if there's a kind of a turnaround in their approach towards the game. And you see, those efforts they made really paid off, which was something similar to what they did against Aston Villa when they played against Aston Villa last Friday. Saw something similar in this game. They came out and they fought. Unfortunately for them, they were able to get the goal. And then Liverpool were able to get the equalizer as a result of a misplaced pass from one of the Liverpool player who made a wrong pass, and Salah was able to get it, maneuver his foot, and was able to score the equalizer. I was thinking with that, Liverpool can pick four from there and possibly get the winner. But to my greatest surprise, the guy called Andre was able to shoot from outside the box, and a deflection from Joe Gomez made the ball get into the net. And that happened, I think, at the 94th minute or so.
It's very
So
late.
it was a very heartbreaking goal Liverpool considered at that time. And it was very sad. Now they've made Wolves. Wolves has now won two Premier League games consecutively. This for the first time since April 2024. So that tells you how poor Wolves has been in almost 2 years now. But fortunately for them, they were able to get two wins in a row, which is quite commendable. And that's why we must give credit to their coach, Edward Robinson. The guy has really made
It's
this team.
Rob Edwards, and
Sorry, Rob
yes,
Edward. Yeah, Rob
well,
Edward.
he's been fantastic. I said like there's belief in this team even before they started getting results. You could tell this team was better. You could tell this team was more bought in. You could tell this team was more cohesive. They lost Strand Larson, who was their in January, who was their best player, best top scorer last year. Obviously, they lost Cunha and
Yes.
this past summer. But Edwards has been a revelation. If he was there all season, this team would be at least in the relegation race. I still think they would be one of the weaker teams in this league, but they've just been they've been much better in the last couple months. And I think there's no way that they catch up. They would need to basically win out in order to have a chance.
It will be
If
very
they won
difficult.
out, they got 40 points if they won out. So I think that
Yes,
they're
yes.
still too far gone, but they're in a great position to keep a lot of their players. I'm not sure how many of their players would jump if they were to go down. There's just no. Strand Larson was the one player who I think other clubs were looking at, but I don't know how many of their players would make that jump. So they could bounce right back up to the Premier League, and Rob Edwards is a great coach to guide them through that process. I believe in him.
So don't you think, even if they get relegated with the way they've been performing in the recent time, don't you think they can build on that even if they are playing the championship?
Yeah, like I said, I've said before, I think the last 2 years were a bit of aberration where we had a combination of some historic clubs just completely collapse. I'm talking Southampton and Leicester. We've had some clubs come up who literally basically had no business ever being in the Premier League, like in Ipswich and Luton, who both teams hadn't been up in decades. And I don't know, I don't think Luton had ever been up. But Yeah, so it's just a fair. I think that this Wolves team is strikes me that pattern of team that does very well in the championship and is able to make a run right back up. But again, a year and a half is a long time in football till the start of the 2020 7-28 season, and who knows how Wolves will perform. But I think they're in a good, really good position to go down. Probably better than West Ham if they were to go down, better than Nottingham Forest, in my opinion.
No, if you watch the games they've been playing, teams that have played against them, even those who defeated them, they've struggled to even beat them even convincingly. It has not been easy for teams that have played against them in the recent time. I think in their last 5 games, they've only lost just 1 game. So that shows you the level of progress, the level of improvement Wolves had under the guidance of Rob Edward. So I wanted to ask you a question, Joe. What do you make of those celebrations that Rob Edwards normally make, especially when they score a kind of a winner? He goes to the fans and you see him celebrating with them. What do you make of that? We saw that when they played against Aston Villa, when they scored the second goal, and in this game as well against Liverpool, he did exactly the same thing, went to the fans. What do you make of it?
I think it's part of the beauty of football. I mean, in the like, what is football if it's not for the memories of the fans in the stadium who are supporting this team, who have had no reason to cheer up for a couple years before January, and this team, I think they'll be back in the Premier League pretty quickly. But it was some teams. Sunderland went down, thought they would come up really quickly, and was 10 years before they came back up. So I think that this is what football is about. My favorite memories are, I mean, I've enjoyed being in the stadium, celebrating with several other fans, but also watching on TV and celebrating with, your Jurgen Klopps of the world or whoever is, your Thomas Franks who's cheering on. I think it's just very exciting. That's what football is all about for me.
So Joe, with the way Liverpool is playing, do you think, are you convinced, or do you have doubts if they can make top four, top five at the end of the season?
Of course, I think it's not guaranteed. But I've seen both Aston Villa, Man United, Chelsea, and Liverpool play. And I've said consistently over the last month, I think Chelsea is the team of those four that's going to miss out. I didn't watch the game today. I might record it and go back and rewatch it, but I still think that Chelsea, as flawed as Liverpool is, and I've explained what my thoughts on their flaws are, I think Chelsea is even more flawed. And I think we'll see. I think Chelsea is also set up better for cup runs, and Liverpool is uh, has a very strong core and experience, but just maybe a little imbalance in terms of their skill sets on their team.
Well, if you ask me, for me, I would rate Chelsea's form ahead of Liverpool, because most times I try to watch the Liverpool game, watch the Chelsea game, except maybe if they are playing at the same time. I'm still not yet really convinced the way Liverpool is playing. That might be maybe my view might be based on maybe the expectation I have about them. It's not the Liverpool team that I've always known that plays with so much aggression. They play with so much, they very fast on the ball. This Liverpool is not as fast as we've always known them to be. It's like they are a bit slow in the way they move the ball around. So that's not the Liverpool I've known. So I'm not, even though they won their game against Nottingham Forest, and then which other team did they win the other time? Is it Sunderland? But I'm not yet convinced about Liverpool when it comes to maybe the way they play or playing so convincingly. I'm still not yet convinced. I feel Chelsea plays much better than Liverpool, if you ask me.
I don't think. I mean, just putting some more nuance around our disagreements there. I think Chelsea have more talent and are able to play better than Liverpool this season in the moments. I think Chelsea have been undone by poor player discipline, not only via fouls and physicality, but also just mentality wise, letting things slip. I think Liverpool are weaker this season. They have Salah, who I feel like has declined a lot and is good a finisher, but's fallen off and everything else. I think that they have poor squad planning with Gakpo. McAllister has fallen off. But those guys still have good mentality. They're not going to go off the wall And I feel like that provides Liverpool a higher floor, and Chelsea has a higher ceiling in terms of performance. And I feel like that higher floor is going to propel Liverpool to a fifth place finish. And I think that higher ceiling is going to propel Chelsea to better chances in things like the Champions League just this season.
So let me ask you this final question because I know we're almost getting to the final point of the program. If you were to be Arne Slot, what improvement will you make during the summer signing?
You got to replace Gakpo and Salah. And internally, you know how prepared Rio Nagoma is for that role. I as fans, we only see him. It's doing something for 30 minutes once or twice a month is a lot easier than doing it for 90 minutes, 5 times a month. Uh, Gakpo looked great in sub appearances with subbing with Diaz the last couple of years, and then when all of a sudden he's trying to start 90 minutes twice a week, he looks not good. I feel like you got to sign two wingers, let Salah go, or tell Salah you're a super sub or you're going to go out. That's your decision, Salah. We want you, but if you want to play every game, go somewhere else. He has to do that. I feel like Salah can still be a great finisher, still probably one of the better finishers in the league, but just not a starting winger for a Liverpool level club in this league, at least not twice a week. I think you got to sign somebody, ironically, with the profile of Diaz. In the left slot. You got to figure out, isn't Nagoma ready to make that jump up, at least in terms of play time? Quality wise, he's there, but I don't know 18-year-old what he's like behind the scenes and how ready he is mentally. Do you agree with that, George?
Yes. I agree with you very well. Real Ngumoha, I think the only challenge is he's a young player. He may not be able to give you that consistent performance in every game. So such kind of players, I will always feel they should come in as a sub. They should be a backup player so that they can learn from the more experienced player. But like you rightly said, I feel Salah has passed his prime. And if you ask me, I think it's time for him to leave Liverpool. If he wants to stay in Liverpool, then he must accept to be a backup player. He can't be the main guy anymore
For
because
me,
I think he has.
Firmino
Yes,
did very well as a backup the last year or two he was there. I think Salah could absolutely do that role. And another thing is McAllister. I don't get why he's fallen off, but he has fallen off this year. He has looked bad. I think he did get a lot of money from him from Madrid, from a lot of teams, like because he's young enough that it's not age. It shouldn't be age related. But his fall off has been exceptional this year. I think it's sometimes the players just need to change the scenery. So McAllister has been a great servant for a couple of years there, and maybe also I've also seen players reinvigorate themselves with the same club. I don't know what's going on. I think that Slot needs to address that. I This is a topic for another time. I'm not sure Slot will be that person though. I think he'll be the fall guy due to that as a result of some bad squad planning. But I think he'll get the rest of the season. But we'll see. All right. So questions for the audience to close out. Number one, what do you feel like is wrong with Liverpool this season? George and I have just chatted about that. Let us know your thoughts. Number two, Barcelona. Do you feel that they should have won today? Do you feel like their fans feel slighted? Number three, the which games out of the four teams vying for that last relegation spot, which team do you feel like is going to go down? I think it's Nottingham Forest. George, which team do you think?
I think I will also go with Nottingham Forest.
Okay, let us know your thoughts, listeners, and appreciate your time. Have a good night or day.